Well, hello, Peri and post-menopausers. Listen, we talk a lot about mindset, sleep, stress management, all the things that actually can be happening while we're in this stage. But let's hit just a little bit about food. And what I mean by that is having the consistency around the food that we eat in order to help our bodies be at our best. So, of course, many of us feel like these carbs are the devil. We can't digest them. Some of you feel super sensitive. Some of you feel like no matter what you do, the weight is just not changing. But the fact is, so often there's something missing about what you're doing. And it typically is we're eating more than honestly we think we are. Number one. And then number two, sometimes it's just the ratio of the food is just off. What do I mean by that? Usually protein is a little lower than you think. Your carbs is hit and miss because you may be a snacker and you don't necessarily realize it, or it's condiments, right? The accoutrements, the things we add, they can be throwing you off. But the pesky fat grams are probably a lot higher than you think. And that is where many of you can be getting a lot of your calories. Also, many of you use a lot of app trackers, right? Where we're tracking our food or we're using a tracker to decide how much we should eat. But I will tell you this, at many age ranges, right? Even though you put your age in, and you may say, I'm moderately active or I'm sedentary, trackers don't always necessarily depict the right level of carbs for the age range or the stage, ladies, that we are in. And so sometimes those carbs can honestly be overestimated because we feel like, oh, that seems like we need that because we're active, because we're training, because we're doing things. But you got to remember that food is about the activity that you have throughout a day, right? Not just that we train at a gym. So we have to be very careful about how much food and does it make sense, okay? Because many of you may be leading very sedentary lifestyles. And sedentary just means that for the majority of your day, you are not moving or you are not as active. I know that you're training at the gym. You may be 3, 4, 5 days a week. I know that you're walking or elliptical, Stairmaster, row machines, dancing, Zumba, swim, whatever you're doing. But remember, you're not doing that all day. And so that might be an hour, 2 hours max of your time. Some of you it may be nothing. And then some of you it may be like 25 minutes, right? But when you think about the rest of your day, if you are seated for 12 or 14 hours of your day, the amount of food requirement from a carb load is a lot less than you would believe. So what we have to do is really pay attention to the how much we're eating and the quantities and knowing serving sizes of different food. And sometimes that can feel complicated, but the first things first is always check the back of anything that you buy so you understand exactly the serving size there. Say things like pasta. It may show up in 2-ounce serving sizes. For many of you ladies, it's really only 1 ounce that you need at one time. And some of you may just be sensitive to it, period, right? And then proteins. The one thing for sure is that we need those proteins, and we, no matter if you're plant-based eater or either a classic eater, meaning that you don't exclude, or that you eat animal products. That's a better term, that you eat animal products. But the fact is, we need to have protein levels that match you, the age range you're in, and the state that you're in currently based on your fitness level. If you had an injury, if you've had bone surgery, if you are close to having osteopenia, sarcopenia, osteoporosis, any of those things, then our protein requirement needs to match that. All right. And oftentimes what we think we do is not really what we do. And so first things first, get a very good estimate of how much protein you need. And then for those of you who have not ever weighed your food before, this is the opportunity to do so you understand exactly how much protein you are eating today. And if you're anywhere near close to what makes sense for the body that you are in or the one you're trying to develop. Again, carbohydrate load is always going to be about your current level of activity, not just your exercise. It is about your entire day. Because exercise activity, what we can do there is create meal timing, right? We can have more carbs associated with that time of day or post training. But if you are not moving as much, we still need good carbs, right? We need those vegetables, we need those fruits, we need those things, but we need to make sure they're in the right amount for your current body. And then fat grams, y'all, it's pesky. It's the peanut butter, the avocado, black olives, dark chocolate of any kind of mixed nuts, any of your oils, whether you feel like that, well, that's a good fat or not, it doesn't matter. All fats, right? They possess way more calories than other food items. And you really do have to manage that. And many of you probably have never actually managed that number before. And you don't necessarily acknowledge that, oh, I didn't even realize that, or I need to do that one differently. So start paying attention to that one. And you may find that you're eating a lot more than you think. Most of the time, with all my clients that I work with in my coaching programs or in my one-on-one programs, that is always one that is overlooked because we think we're getting good fats, or we think that peanut butter is a protein, or we feel like, oh, avocado, it's healthy, it's brain food, walnuts, brain food. Yes, they are, but they still need to be managed. So think about that. And if you feel like you've got even more questions, of course, that's why I'm here. But I want you to start to pay attention to those nutrition labels and really get some help on understanding those macronutrients, proteins, carbohydrates, fats, and really pay attention to the ratio that's on your plate and understanding how much is right for you. And you may not know that today, but I want you just to start paying attention and writing that log and seeing where you may be missing it. And of course, as always, if you want even more, then just reach out. Okay? See you soon.